Welcome to the Artist Impact Podcast, helping you gain confidence, grow your talent, and advance your impact. Here are your hosts, Paul Gibbs and Nate Miller.
Welcome, everyone. How are you doing tonight, today, wherever, whenever you happen to be watching and listening? Hope all is well with you.
Welcome
I'm Paul.
back. And I'm Nate.
Yes, and this is another interesting and hopefully helpful podcast that we are going to share with you. We got all kinds of great stuff. We got some trivia. We got some really good trivia this time. Not that it's all not good, but we also have some information for you that we think is going to be really helpful for you.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about band rehearsals.
Ooh. Band rehearsals.
Ooh. Okay. Yeah, we're going to talk about that. We got some interesting stuff that happened this week in history. What do you got, Hank?
I got stuff on jamming with others.
Jamming with others.
And what we talked about at the end of our last podcast. How about how to up your game in your Spotify playlist strategy?
We really, and this is good because I think folks really need to know. I'd like to know more about Spotify. We hear so much about Spotify playlists. Oh, you got to get on playlists. What's that all about? So we're going to dive into that just a little bit this time, and then we'll.
I'm sure we'll expand on that in upcoming podcasts as well because. I mean, we've worked with artists who've asked us about that. How do I do this? How do I get on there?
Yeah. And people even say, "What is Spotify?"
Yeah.
Yeah. What is Spotify? But anyway, first of all, interesting stuff here. This week in May, all right, the Oscar. Remember the Oscars? Mm-hmm. I mean, because it's the Oscar goes to. Exactly. Yeah. Well, did you know that the Oscars started in 1929?
Oh, wow.
Wow. I didn't realize. I would have thought maybe, I don't know, maybe the 40s, 50s maybe, but 1920.
The Roaring 20s.
The Roaring 20s, yeah. Yeah, so 1929, the Academy Awards were held for the first time, get this, at a dinner party, and there was about 250 people there in the Blossom Room of the Roosevelt Hotel in, of all places, Hollywood, California.
Okay.
Yeah. I had looked up what films got the awards, and now I forgot.
They must not have been very memorable.
They were not memorable. Nothing that I would remember anyway. Yeah. Well, in the blue jeans. How many of you are wearing blue jeans right now?
You got them on right now.
Right now. Okay. Any idea when the first blue jeans came on the scene? Well, it's a lot older than the Academy Awards.
Yeah.
It was 1873.
Wow.
Yeah, blue jeans. It was on that day that Levi Strauss, of course, and Jacob Davis, they were partners, I guess. They obtained a U.S. patent for putting rivets in men's work pants. Really? For the very first time.
So I guess denim must have been around before that, before it was turned into jeans.
Yeah, they must have been, and or maybe they called them dungarees. Maybe I guess they weren't called jeans back then, of course. Dungarees or overalls or whatever. Yeah, I got one more. 1927. It was Charles Lindbergh. Remember him, right? Yep. He flew his Spirit of St. Louis plane from Long Island, New York to, of course, Paris, France, becoming the first solo pilot to fly nonstop across the Atlantic. His flight traversed about 3,600 miles. He was in the air for 33 hours and 30 minutes.
Wow. He had a bladder of a champ.
I wonder what he did about that.
I don't know.
Oh, okay. All right. We'll just leave that to the imagination. But get this. This hotelier, it's a guy that owns a bunch of hotels and is very rich. His name was Raymond Orteig, Orteig. He paid Charles Lindbergh a prize of $25,000.
And back then, that was probably a lot.
Oh, my goodness. That'd be like enough to fill the gas tank.
In today's standards.
Yeah. So, and let's start out right now with our weekly verse. Lamentations 3, verses 23 through 24. Because of the Lord's great love, we are not consumed, for his compassions never fail. They are new every morning. Great is your faithfulness. I say to myself, the Lord is my portion. Therefore, I will wait for him. Lamentations 3:22 and 24. Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about jamming on the acoustic guitar.
Jamming on the acoustic guitar. Dun.
So, this is actually
It doesn't seem right. I'm ready to play Smoke on the Water, and it's
on
just,
an acoustic.
Yeah, it's okay. All right.
Yeah. So, how many of you guys out there have been part of a jam session before or a jam group? I actually don't think I've ever been part of it. How about you, Paul?
I don't think so. Just where, okay, whoever shows up, and
Yeah,
just play whatever they
and sometimes
know.
they have different rules, or like about who plays when and stuff like that. But nothing organized quite like that. I've never been part of something like that.
Or unorganized.
Unorganized. Yeah, I've maybe sat in on with some friends and just played, but not like an official jam session. I guess the closest thing I was in on was like a drum circle.
A drum circle.
Yeah.
Is there some humor here?
No.
Oh, okay. A drum
Yeah,
circle.
it's like usually have like a djembe or a hand drum, and there might be a little bit of instruction on like how some simple rhythms, and then one person will start, and everybody kind of adds, and it's all percussive, but that's
okay. Sounds interesting.
Yeah, it's like the drum version of a jam session.
Cool.
So anyway, there's this really cool article here from Acoustic Guitar Magazine. The author's name is Judy Minot, and giving some hints on specifically to acoustic guitar players on how to play well with others in a jam session format. So I thought there's some useful things in here, not only for playing specifically in a jam session, but also for playing in a group. If you're a solo guitarist, and she starts out by saying, if you're used to playing alone on your couch, get out there and get to a jam session, because Paul and I have talked several times before about the importance of learning to play with other people
well together.
Even if you're going to be a solo guitar player, it's really going to improve your playing in many different ways. But let's get into the article here. So she says jam sessions offer a low-stress, non-performance environment where you can get comfortable learning to work with a group. When you play in a jam, you can relax because your mistakes and flubs and imperfections really don't matter. A lot of times these jam sessions, like totally novice beginners will show up. They maybe have never played before, and they just want to experience being with other, experienced musicians, and most of them are welcome to that, and she'll get into that. So she says, in a jam session, you get to hang out with other musicians, often really good ones. You can build useful skills like providing support for singers, adjusting your timing and rhythm to other players, and watching for and giving musical signals, starting and ending tunes, taking breaks and solos. You can learn new music and maybe even get gigs out of it. So it's a great networking thing, and a great way to brush up on and pick up new skills that maybe you're not used to using, especially if you're a solo player. Mm-hmm. So getting ready, she says, every jam is different. Some of them are organized around a certain style of music or a concept. So you might have ones that are specifically bluegrass or gypsy, jazz, or song swap. Some of them are guitar-only jams, and others of them have a variety of instruments. Some jams are specifically instrumental, and most of them will have songs where people are singing, and some of them fall somewhere in between. So get a little bit of information before you head out to the jam and find out what kind of instrumentation is expected, and what type of music they might be playing. She goes on to say it's important to be a good listener first and a good player second.
That's good advice.
And I don't think that's specific to just a jam session. I think that's a great thing to be as a musician in general. Be a good listener first and a good player second. You can have all the skill in the world, but if you're not listening to what the other people are doing, you're never going to be able to play along with them.
Works good in marriage too.
Our wives can attest to that, right? She also encourages you, it's a good idea to prepare a tune or a song to take with you in case somebody asks you to start a song. If you're brand new to playing guitar and you're not comfortable doing that, you usually don't have to, but if you're decent at guitar and you're able to lead a song, you might get asked to do that. So have one in your back pocket, so to speak. When you arrive, she kind of says, like, when you show up to your first jam, it's a little bit daunting, unknown people, unknown factors, but give yourself a mental pat on the back for your bravery just for showing up, and try to show up a little bit early and introduce yourself to the leader if you can figure out who that is. Let them know it's your first jam, and they're going to introduce you and show you the ropes and all that stuff. This is a great time also to ask lots of questions. Everything from where do you want me to sit to is it okay to play a Dolly Parton song? Just whatever's on your brain, on your mind, ask those questions.
How do you play a G chord?
Yeah, you might want to start with that. During the jam, she says The best jams are full of friendly people who want to encourage other musicians. And that's what I would say to you guys. Unless it's like a really seasoned group of musicians and it's kind of a closed circle, a lot of these jam sessions are specifically for this purpose, like letting new people come in and having the chance to just make mistakes and to play with other great musicians. So you're more than likely going to be welcomed. So don't be afraid of that. So have common courtesy and thoughtfulness as you share music with these other people. It's important, again, she reiterates, it's important to be a good listener first and a good player second. Notice where others are singing along on the verses or just on the choruses. Do people play or sing harmonies? How many verses are in a typical song? How is it decided who will lead the next tune? And these are some of the things you can ask in your questions to the leader, just so you can kind of learn how the process works. This is another important thing when you're playing in a group. Think about blending rather than shining. Unless you're being asked to lead a solo section, if you're playing, especially if you're backing up a vocalist or if it's just a verse, you want to blend in. You don't want to stick out like a sore thumb. This is all about listening and fitting in. You'll quickly see that a jam is very different than a performance. I think that's true, especially in these sessions where you're at a group and people are all kind of playing together. You're not necessarily performing for an audience. It's all about being in that moment and in the song and blending together. So supporting others so that they sound good will make you welcome in the group, and you'll get asked back. If you don't, you probably won't be asked back. She continues, you can learn a lot by observing other players. Watch their chord hands. How are they strumming? What kind of rhythm patterns did they use? How loud do they play? When do they change? Listen for the way they provide information for the group and foundations for the group, not just with unusual chording, but also with strong and reliable rhythm. So again, if you're used to playing by yourself, watch the techniques that other guitar players use. You can learn a ton of that. I mean, obviously you can learn that by watching videos, but I think being there live, especially in a dynamic situation like that where there's like give and take, is like the perfect opportunity to really learn from somebody who's a little more skillful than you. She goes on, musicians may be singled by eye contact or called out by name or by instrument. Some groups take turns going around the circle. So again, these are all things to ask about. How do I know when I'm supposed to play a solo, or do I take over at this point? They'll give you instructions about that. Another thing you can learn by observing is how to support a singer. This is another great thing. If someone's played on their own and they're just playing instrumentally, when you're playing behind a singer, you're backing them up. It's different from you just playing yourself, like
very different. Yes.
Performing like a solo guitar piece, and that's a skill that you'll have to learn. You may need to give cues to the singer by playing, and another thing is learning dynamics, playing more quietly under their vocals, and then you can let it ring out more in like turnarounds and instrumental bridges and things like that. She ends up here by saying, after the jam, hopefully you go home glowing, she says, with an invitation to come back.
Yes.
You may have notes on tunes and ideas to work on, and lists of other jams that you can go to check out. But you might also kind of feel totally overwhelmed. But that's pretty normal. Anything that you try that's new and out of the box and that challenges you out of your comfort zone is gonna feel overwhelming. But you know what? Again, give you that pat on the back for your bravery for even showing up. She does say it's possible that you had a bad experience. That could happen, but don't let this ruin the idea of a jam session for you. It probably wasn't about you, and you can just try again or find another jam session that would work better for you. There are plenty of them out there. She says many jams have a mailing list, a website, or a social media page, but above all, find a way to go forth and jam, and you'll be glad that you did. So I think that's kind of cool. Like I said, I haven't had any experience in specifically like something that was considered technically a jam session,
an official
jam session. I've sat in on with friends and just played, but so even I haven't had that experience of like sitting in there, like because I'm sure the things that I could learn from doing that as well. Even though I'm used to playing in a group setting in terms of like dynamics and then blending and everything, but. Yeah, I think that would be a great thing to break you out of your comfort zone and force you to really be aware of what you're playing and how you're playing it. Yeah,
I think it's great. I think for the let's say the novice, the beginner, whatever, to get that experience, just like you were just talking, all those things you were just talking about. A couple thoughts I'll just put on top of that. we talk about it's not a performance,
Right.
but also it's not a rehearsal.
Oh, yeah.
In other words, you don't expect to say, wait a minute, I didn't get that part right. Can we go over it again?
It's just going to keep going.
That's not what it's about.
Yeah.
It's just about just playing and having fun. I was in a choir, in church choir one time, where we would go and rehearse once a week, and this is not a jam session at all, but what reminded me of was that we would go over like 5 songs,
Okay.
and no matter what mistakes were made, we would just go over them. We just, okay, next song. Didn't matter if we made mistakes or not.
Oh, wow.
Next song, because we were just trying to get used to the song, hear it, get it in our heads, and then move on. So that kind of reminds me of what maybe a jam session would be. It's not a rehearsal, not to try to get it right, but to try to just, like you said, to have the experience of playing with others. And then once you've done that, I would think someone who's kind of getting experience at being at these jam sessions could then be asked, well, I'm going to lead one. I'm going to be the leader.
Yeah.
And help because of what you've been through. Starting out, then you could take those skills and those ideas and those experiences and then use those to help somebody else.
I think another great thing is just the exposure to music that you're not used to playing.
Yeah.
I mean, you can listen to music, but like the act of sitting down and playing it, and again, being forced to be in the group and actually dynamically playing it. Like, it's one thing to like bring up a YouTube video and like say you've never played a fusion song before, so you bring up a YouTube video and you're just kind of like jamming along in your bedroom by yourself. But when you're in a group and you're actually dynamically moving, in time and in rhythm with them and give and take and all that, that's really going to force you to improve as a musician, whether you're a guitarist or anything,
right?
To learn new styles and tempos and time signatures and chords.
Such valuable experience.
And
there's nothing like it.
And it's going to force you you have to do it because you're in that group at the moment. So
yeah.
What a cool experience. And
and if you haven't done it, do it. You will definitely be glad.
And let us know how it went.
Yeah, and let us know how it went. If you've been in a one of these jam sessions, maybe on a regular basis, or you've tried it, let us know what your experience is. info@notespiremusic.com. We want to hear from you about that. Hey, I got some great trivia here, guys. Let's see what you think of if you get any of these. Okay. I'm going to give you like 5 Christian music trivia questions,
cool.
And then we'll give you all the answers before we're done with the this podcast. What Christian band? Let's see if you just nod your head if you know these, but don't give.
Yeah, I won't give away the answer.
All right. Which Christian band has the most Dove Awards? Which Christian band has the most Dove Awards? Any ideas?
I have an idea, but I don't know if it's right.
Okay. All right. Another one. Which Christian band or artist? That should have been Christian band or artist. Which Christian band or artist has released the most albums?
Oh,
whoa, wow. Yeah. Who's released the most albums? That makes us think about it. Okay, give that some thought, I should say. Which contemporary artist got his start as one of the Backstreet Boys? Oh, I know there's some people that are
trying to think of his name.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Some of you, I know.
My younger sister listened to the Backstreet Boys. I wasn't really
My
into
daughter
them,
did too. Jessica did too. Well, Scott, my son, did too. Let's see. What conference, all right, for college-age students, what conference for college-age students launched the careers of artists like Chris Tomlin, Matt Redman, Christy Nockels, Christian Stanfill, and more? It was a conference for college-age students.
Oh, wow. I know all of those names because we play their music in contemporary worship.
Right. So they got started at a career, conference. One more. And I don't know. You're going to know this one.
Maybe.
And we'll give you the answers at the end of the podcast. But who is the most sung Christian artist these days? Of all time, I guess. Yeah. All right. So there's your questions. All right.
Are we getting any of the answers? We have to wait, don't we?
We're going to give you a couple of them after the break, and then we'll give you the rest at the end of the podcast.
All right.
We'll take a quick pause. We'll come back and answer a couple of these. We got some interesting things that happened this week in history, and we're going to be talking about one of the. Let's see. Shall we say now defunct but collectible music medium things.
Okay.
All right. Yeah. We'll be right back.
You're listening to the Artist Impact Podcast with your hosts, Nate Miller and Paul Gibbs.
Okay, and we are back. All right. Any? Let's see. So, all right. I'll give a couple answers here. We'll give the rest of them. We're going to save that most sung Christian artist for the very end. But, all right. What contemporary artist got his start as one of the Backstreet Boys? Do you remember? Brian Littrell.
Okay. I
was
recognize
Brian.
that name.
Yeah. I guess.
So he's a Christian album?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, Christian artist. I don't know of any of his Christian music. You guys know of his stuff? All right. I guess none of the guys in NSYNC really wanted to. Okay. Anyway, all right.
I feel like a lot of those. I mean, even pop singers.
The
A lot
boy
of them get their start in church choirs.
Yeah.
I mean, you hear that over and over again.
Yeah.
They grow up singing, and that's kind of where they hone their skills, and then they go out and into the world and make music, whether it's secular or sacred.
Right.
But yeah, a lot of people get their start in church.
They sure do. Which Christian band or artist has released the most albums? You got any thoughts on it?
Most albums?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
I got a guess.
I mean,
They've been around a long time.
There's so many though, and I'm thinking Michael W. Smith doesn't have the most albums.
Nope, not him.
Does it go back is it like the Jesus movement era? Or?
Probably. Although I was
Green
not aware of. Well, yeah, it goes back that. Yeah, it definitely goes back that far.
Boy. What's his name?
Oh, no, it's a group.
Oh, it's a group.
It's a group. Who said Petra?
Oh, really?
Yeah, who said Petra? Yes.
I had
Petra.
2 of their albums.
23 albums.
I had This Means War and Not of This World.
Okay.
They're the only 2 that I had.
Okay.
I had them on cassette tape.
On cassette tape. All right. Which Christian band has the most band or artist has the most Dove Awards?
See, I would want to say something like Hillsong, but I think that's too new.
Yeah.
Most Dove Awards.
No, it's a him. It's a guy.
Stephen Curtis Chapman.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yay!
We got one.
We got one. All right. All right. What conference for college-age students launched the careers of artists like Chris Tomlin, Matt Redman, Christy Nockels, Christian Stanfill, and many more? Of course, that was Passion.
Okay, I was going to say, because these guys are all on the Passion label.
There you go. Passion.
So there's actually a conference called Passion.
There is. And
well,
before we're done, yeah, it would, right. And before we're done, we'll tell you who's the most sung Christian artist. I know you're Googling that already. I know you are, but
it's not Good Father, is it? No.
No, it's the artist.
I know, but the most sung song.
The most sung song. Yeah, it probably is.
It seemed like that one was when it first came out. Sorry, Chris Tomlin.
Sure. That's for sure. Hey, how many of you still got cassettes? All right. How many of you still listen to cassettes? How many of you still have a cassette player
that doesn't eat your tapes?
It doesn't eat. No, there's no such thing.
Yeah.
I don't think. I used to have, I don't have it anymore. I used to have a cassette deck, a little square cassette deck that you put underneath the dash of your car.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that thing was so cool. And one of the cassette tape I listened to most was Bread. Bread, great. It might have been Baby I'ma Want You or Bread's Greatest Hits. David Gates and Bread.
Oh, I'm not familiar with that.
Songs like he's showing his age.
I know.
Or lack of.
Maybe if I heard the songs, because I don't always recognize
I'ma Want You,
the names.
Aubrey, If a Picture Paints a Thousand.
Yeah, I know that song.
Okay, there you go.
Bread and Circuses, all right.
Well, let's go back even farther than cassettes to the 8-track.
Yeah.
Yeah. This stuff is fascinating because, I had an Underdash 8-track player, which I still have. Yes, I got it from J.C. Whitney. Yeah, I'm really dating myself now.
Not J.C. Penney.
No, J.C. Whitney, mail order catalog. Wow. Anyway, 8 tracks. I didn't know this. In 1965 it was. Excuse me, let's back up to 64. They called it Stereo 8.
Huh.
Well, we call it the 8-track. Stereo 8 was created in 1964 by, get this, a consortium of people led by none other than the Learjet Corp guy, Bill Lear of the Learjet Corporation.
Interesting.
Along with Ampex, Ampex tape, Ford, Motorola, and RCA Victor Records.
Okay.
Yeah, together they put this this format together.
Wow.
And then in September of 1965, Ford Motor Company, of course, actually became the first automaker to offer an 8-track tape player as an option for their entire line of vehicles sold in the U.S. You could get an 8-track player. Starting in 65, I never thought it would be that early.
I feel like one of our neighbors, when I was growing up, had like a classic car and it had an 8-track player in it, but I don't even know if it worked.
Usually you see it in early or late 70s, early 80s Cadillacs or something. But yeah. So tapes were initially, you could only buy the tapes at auto parts stores.
Really?
Yeah, isn't that cool? So home 8-track equipment was not out yet. Wow. So 8-track tapes started in the automobile industry.
Well, with Ford being involved, that kind of makes sense.
Yeah, and that's how they developed it. And then slowly they developed them. Other companies and things developed them for home use. Mm-hmm. I still have. And it might be a bit collectible. I have a Radio Shack 8-track recorder. It's a deck where you hook up to your stereo.
But can you even buy tape for it anymore?
Well, you probably buy them online.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Man.
Yeah. So, yeah.
I remember seeing those things as a kid. I had no clue what they were. I would just play with them because they had pictures on them. They're like these cartridges. And,
oh yeah. Yeah. And they would loop around, and they all had 4 tracks. They technically had 8 because there was 4 stereo tracks. That's why they called them 8 tracks. But there was 4 tracks on the label and on the tape. And every so often when the tape would get to the end, it would loop, and there was a little silver magnetic whatever that would trigger the head to move over to the next position so that the next track could play. The problem is it was always in the middle of a song. Almost always. Right, guys? You remember, right?
Wow.
All right, so let's end up with this. And here's another bit of trivia about 8 tracks. The last, according to my sources, which I'm not going to reveal, the last commercial 8-track tape released by a major label, many agree, was Fleetwood Mac's Greatest Hits in November of 1988.
Well, they were making them till then.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that long. So anybody got that tape? Anybody got that 8-track tape? Fleetwood Mac's Greatest Hits, released in November of 88. Or if you have information that says it wasn't that, it was something else, let us know. But that's what the sources say.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'll tell you, we are just a wealth of information here.
Whether it's useful or not, I don't know.
Exactly. At least we get a good laugh out of it. Anyway,
right, so let's move on to
let's talk about something we can really use.
Yeah.
Here's something you'll really like.
Talking about Spotify. So, obviously there's a lot of things we could talk about. A lot of people ask about, like, how do you even get on Spotify? So we're not going to drill down into that much detail, but this one specifically, this article is talking about how to improve your Spotify playlist strategy. So if you're already on Spotify or you're trying to get your songs specifically on certain playlists, that's what they're talking about here. And this is from Bobby Borg. We offered a lot of his information. He's the author of Music Marketing for the DIY Musician, among other books. And he has three kind of main points here that he says you might need to think about. 3 main reasons why your Spotify playlist strategy might need some work. So the heading of this article says, getting on a Spotify playlist or on any streaming playlist requires a strategy and a plan. Here's some advice on what to do and what not to do. So again, 3 main points. The first one, he says, you might be focusing solely on submitting to playlists and not promoting yourself. So he says artists who focus on nothing but playlists as their strategy will find that if they don't get on a playlist, their journey ends there. Yes, getting on a playlist is great. It looks good, looks great. It can help drive more listeners and more fans to you, but it goes beyond just submitting your music on these forms. Once you've done that, there's so much more that you can do on social platforms. So he says, post videos on TikTok, share your artwork on Instagram, tell people about it on Twitter, start looking into pre-save campaigns. So if you're putting all your eggs in one basket and just thinking, well, as long as I get my song up there on a Spotify playlist, that's all I have to do, and then people will find it. That's only half of the battle. Yeah. So don't think that that's like the panacea. So he's saying, fine, that's great. Get it up on a playlist. Kudos to you. But then do the legwork, hit the pavement running and get out there and promote it on all your social media platforms. Don't just get it out on a playlist and then think you got it made in the shade, because it's not going to work.
Yeah.
Number 2, he says one of the main reasons that you might need some work is that you shoot for the biggest playlists. So he says, getting on an editorial playlist for any artist at any stage is hard to land. So everyone wants to get on like New Music Friday or Today's Top Hits. These are huge playlists that pop up that everybody sees when they log on to Spotify. And like who wouldn't want to be on one of these high profile playlists? But he's saying don't ignore user-generated playlists. So there are individual users who have, accounts on Spotify who create their own playlists, and you might think, oh, well, who's going to see that? Or I just want to get on one of these major ones. But he's saying don't forego these user-generated ones. He gives a few tips though. Look for an artist who has music similar to yours, and identify the playlist that they're currently on. So if there's another artist out there, their music's already on Spotify, they may or may not be on these major playlists, but maybe they're on these user-generated playlists, these kind of sub-playlists. Find out what they're on, especially if they're similar to you and people are already looking for them. Check into that user, look at their profile, do a search for that person, and then he says reach out to them. Now, he gives a little bit of advice here in terms of the outreach. He says there's tons of stuff we could say about outreach, but the biggest thing is the shorter the message, the more likely you're going to get a response. Don't, spam their contact with this huge, long dissertation about who you are and what you're all about. He says tell them exactly why you're reaching out, and then when you get permission, send them your track. He says don't just bank on getting on a large editorial playlist. There's a lot of lower hanging fruit that is much easier to land and that can help you build momentum.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. If you can get on one of these, lower hanging fruit, playlists and get some traction there, that's going to boost you in the ratings, and it might be easier then for you to get on these editorial playlists. But if you try to shoot for these big ones first, you may or may not hit that, and you're missing all the other opportunities.
I would think that being on those lower hanging branches, as you say, would also help with consistency.
And I think you're going to probably be more likely to get played if you're on multiple lists, even if they're not these big top playlists. I just feel like that's going to give your song more chances of getting heard. Number 3, and I think this is a big one. I put a star on this. He says one of the main reasons that you might need to rethink your strategy is you're paying to get onto playlists. This is a big no-no. He says do not pay to get on a playlist. Do not buy streams. I don't even know if they let you do that, but he says I've seen artists who have had to completely start again because their music got removed. Their distributor wouldn't work with them anymore, and their artist name was blocked, and they basically had to start an entire new project.
Wow.
So if you think, and especially if you're getting solicited to pay to play, watch out for that. That's bad business, bad news. He says it can lead to your music getting taken down and can harm you in the long term. You won't recoup the money you spent, and it may actually end up costing you more down the road. So do not buy streams. If anyone guarantees a playlist ad, take this warning. He says do not engage with them, especially if they've never seen or even heard your song and they're ready to place your song in their playlist for money. Just do not do it.
Don't do it.
And he says if you're unsure, ask other artists. I've seen that even on Instagram. I have a music channel. I haven't posted much on that. I'm not very active in terms of personal music, but as soon as I post a new song, I guess because of the hashtags, I get hit right away with people saying, DM me right away for, a feature on my channel. And it's just like, maybe they actually do that, but I mean, it's like seconds. So it's like a bot or something, or they're just roving for these hashtags. But these people are just vultures out there, and they're trying to find unsuspecting people. So again, this was Bobby Borg, and 3 main points. So I'll reiterate them. These are 3 main reasons why your Spotify playlist strategy might need some work. 1, you focus solely on submitting to playlists and not promoting yourself. So get out there and promote yourself even if you're on a playlist. 2, you shoot for the biggest playlists. That's great, but don't forget about all the lower hanging fruit that you could get on. And then number 3, you pay to get onto playlists. Again, big no. Do not pay to get on a playlist, and do not pay to get streams.
Nope. Do not pay to play.
Pay to play would be the way they say it on radio, right?
That's exactly it. You can buy airtime, but don't pay to play.
So some basic strategies there. And again, like I
that.
said, we'll go into Spotify in
Yeah.
more detail later because we get a lot of questions about that here at Notespire Music. Artists asking us about how do I even get on Spotify? Like, what do I even do? Where do I start?
Yeah.
So I think that's something that's important. If people are asking questions, we should cover that.
Maybe we should start with what is a Spotify playlist?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe we can start with that. If you guys got questions, something that you want to know, what is Spotify, anything else that you'd like us to cover, or maybe you'd like to offer some information that we didn't share that you could share with us, that we can then share with others, let us know. info@notespiremusic.com. I'm going to talk about rehearsing with your band. Yeah, right after this.
You're listening to the Artist Impact Podcast with your hosts, Nate Miller and Paul Gibbs.
All right. This black cherry kickstart's not bad.
I could not find the grape. Does anybody out there have grape kickstart
grape,
where
grape
you are?
Kickstart,
that flavor is just like gone.
It's gone.
Yeah, I've looked for it.
It's on a boat out near in the ocean.
I don't know if there's like global shortages in supply chains or what, but they have the orange. They've got the whatever the yellow one is, and the black cherry. But I cannot find grape.
And it's my favorite. Now I want to tell you guys, if you don't know about Kickstart, okay, this is not one of those energy drinks. All right, doctor's orders. I do not drink those. This has the same caffeine, about 80 milligrams of caffeine. Or is it, was it 98? Something like that. It's about the same as a cup of coffee. Okay, so, and let's see. Anyway, check it out.
But I feel like that is kind of like your energy drink.
It kind of is.
The one that
this or coffee, depending on the weather. If it's hot, I'll drink this.
Yeah, we're usually drinking coffee when we're recording this, but
I just, people say, "Oh, Paul, you shouldn't be doing," guys shouldn't be, so anyway. Now, what he's drinking, I don't know.
I don't know. This is this new, and we're not being paid for this, so I'm going to say it anyway, but this new Nitro Pepsi. So, I love Nitro coffee. It's got the bubbles, and it's, real smooth.
Oh.
But this is a vanilla draft cola. So, it's basically Pepsi with a vanilla flavor and then Nitro-infused cola. And it sounds like it would be really disgusting, but
we're going to go out with a bang.
I tried it, and it's actually surprisingly good. So, unpaid endorsement, if you guys want to try something new.
If you find grape kickstart somewhere, please let me know.
Send us a case. We can't find it.
Oh, let's see. Well, I'll tell you what. Of all the, when I started playing guitar, which was like in 6th grade or something like that. Yeah, exactly. Way back then. I was one of those guys that I would play on my own, and I actually had an LP of play guitar with the Ventures.
The Ventures.
Remember those? They were an instrumental guitar group. They were quite popular. They had like Hawaii 5-0 was one of their.
Oh, that's one of their songs.
Yeah, it was one of their songs.
I'm gonna look these guys up while you're talking.
And no matter what shape your stomach's in was for an Alka-Seltzer commercial.
That's funny.
Anyway, so that's how I started. But quickly got together with some friends, and we would learn songs, and we played together.
It says they're still active, according to Wikipedia, 1958 to the present.
The Ventures.
Interesting.
Wipeout, I think, was another. The Safaris was the big hit of Wipeout, but the Ventures did it as well.
Interesting. It says instrumental rock and surf rock are their genres.
Yeah.
But keep talking. I'll see if I can find some of their greatest hits or whatever.
Okay. But that gave me the experience of practicing with a band, rehearsing with the band, because that's what we did. We got together and played. So again, this is from Bobby Boyd and Borg, and 11 tips for better band rehearsals. We're going to give you a few of them right now. So, band rehearsals are part of playing live music, and if you don't rehearse, then, you're just not going to go anywhere. So rehearsing live shows and recording and rehearsing for recordings as well, of course, is part of the life of a musician. Sometimes rehearsals, as we all know, can be very efficient and satisfying and rewarding. Sometimes they can be a complete nightmare and a train wreck.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
We both played in or continue to play in group settings, and it can be a mess.
Oh yeah. So anyway, first of all, find a rehearsal space. Find a spot that you can rehearse in. Okay.
Garage band.
Yeah. If you're a garage band, you might want to play in the garage. Remember the song "Pleasant Valley Sunday"? Another rock group down the street is trying hard to learn that song. Anyway, that was one of my favorite songs growing up. Renting a house, maybe if you need it. If you don't have any other space and you got the funds, maybe renting a house. A band I was in one time with Dana and Jack, my good friends, we actually rented a house to record our CD in, and because the house was empty, so we did the living room.
There's several bands I've heard of who've rented out old mansions and stuff to record in. Yep.
Or find a rehearsal studio, maybe that if you need to rent that. Some cities have areas that you can rent. Or you can just do it in somebody's house or basement. That's the most common way, probably. That's the way we always did it.
Yeah.
I remember we practiced one time for a while in Mark Barden's barn, his parents' barn in Granville, New York. Huh. Or maybe, you might want to, if you can't find a space, or once in a while you don't have you're not able to crank it up, so to speak. You might be able to just at least do an acoustic rehearsal with acoustic guitars and drummer just with bongos or whatever. But it's having a consistent place is very important. And if you don't, then if you have to move from place to place, but that takes us into the next one, which is consistent. Have a consistent schedule, I think, is really, really important. If you're not serious about it, to have a consistent rehearsal schedule, then you're probably not going to go very far. Yeah. I got to treat this like a job, guys. If you're serious about the band, be serious about the rehearsing. So make it part of your life, like going to your class or going to your job. That's very important, consistency. If you can't do it every week, well, fine. Some bands rehearse, if they're full-time, they rehearse like 2-3 times a week. I remember the bands I was in, we were always once a week, pretty much, would rehearse, especially if we had a new song to learn.
Or a gig coming up.
Yeah. Exactly. When in our case, many times, we had gigs every week. We were just playing every single week. And those times, if we were playing 3-4 times a week, quite often we did not practice every week, because all the stuff was there. But every once in a while, I remember going to the gig during the weeknight. If we were playing at a club or whatever, we would they'd let us come in when they were closed and just go in and practice.
Oh, that's cool.
Which was really cool.
Yeah.
So, because if somebody wanted to learn a new song or whatever. So treat it like a job, guys. It says, if you're trying to go somewhere with it, you're going to need to build in plenty of rehearsal time. All right. What's the difference, in my mind anyway, between practicing and rehearsing?
Yeah, that's funny because the group that I play with now, the lead singer will always say, "This isn't a practice, this is rehearsal."
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. In my mind, I don't know. Maybe I don't know about you guys. Practice is what you do at home to learn the songs
and learn your parts. Yep.
Rehearsal is what you do when you get together and get ready for the gig.
Or the if you're wasting your time going over parts and yeah.
Yeah, that's like, okay, we're not going to get together and learn the song. We may get together, rehearsal, and polish the song, right, or perfect the song, but to learn the song, well, sometimes we did. I got to be honest. Sometimes we did. We'd take a 45 and record it onto a cassette so that we could all listen to sections of it at a time, and we'd learn the song together. But mostly practicing and stuff, especially if you've got a guitar solo or whatever, it's great to learn it at home on your own.
That's true.
Yeah. Because it makes things go so much more efficiency. It's not great when you got to sit down and show the bass player his part or her part. That's yeah.
No, like this.
So when you get to rehearsal, be ready to rehearse. All right. Be on time. Hello. I'm guilty because one band I was in years ago, in the 70s it was, they practiced like 45 minutes away from where I lived.
Oh, wow.
And it was every week. And to be honest, I was late a lot. Or a few times, I just didn't. I said, guys, I can't make it to practice this week. And all right, I was young. There was a lot of things going on in life right then. It was not a good situation. And I was asked to leave that band
I guess it also
before too long.
I guess it also depends on what part you play. Like if you're the drummer and there's already a kit there that you're going to use, you can just stroll in with your sticks and you're ready to go.
Right.
But if you got to put your kit together, get there early, man.
Yeah, get there early.
Don't get there when the rehearsal's supposed to start and then start putting your kit together. Yeah.
Again, treat it like a job. You don't go to a meeting and say, "Oh, wait a minute, I'm not sure about this report. I don't have that report ready, or I don't have my speech prepared, or whatever." So be ready, be there on time, or be there early. Again, the guy says he just think of it like a business. Yeah. So and this is a pet peeve for me, and I will say up front that I have been guilty of this. I am not perfect. Okay, I have been guilty of this. But with that said, stop noodling.
Guitarists. Yeah. So hard.
We're trying. 3 or 4 people in the band are trying to talk about that one part, or here's how that part could we rehearse that background vocal for the chorus just over here, and you're trying to do that, and the bass player's over there, boom, 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 boom.
Or what I hate is
the drummer is
especially if it's an acoustic guitar, you're trying to tune and everybody's playing.
Yeah, guys.
I mean, you can only isolate the sound as much as possible, but if you have an acoustic, I mean, that sound's going into the sound hole and just
Or a certain guitarist that Nate and I both know, but who will remain nameless, trying out every single setting on his effect pedal. Every single one at full playing volume. Come on, please. Can you? Okay, guys, it really, and I know some of you, Dana Roy, the drummer I played with for many years, he was adamant. Dana did not sing. He was a very good drummer, but he didn't sing. But this guy, and I tell you, I learned it from him. Between songs, he did not play. He didn't start playing until we were ready to go.
Wow.
I loved him for that. It was great.
That's some self-discipline there.
It was great. Yeah, he didn't need to do all this stuff. So anyway, guys, be considerate. I mean, there's a time for finding that just exact setting, that patch on your guitar pedal or whatever. There's a time for that. Do it quickly. Do it at home. If you have to change things, okay, guys, give me 1 minute so I can just, or whatever, and then be respectful of that time, and then find it and stop. Okay, all right. We'll take your hands off your gear and step away from the guitar. Okay, turn down the volume and pay attention to what's going on. Okay, now this final one here. Now this was not even applicable back when I was in the day that I was in bands.
Oh wow!
Even when Dana and Jack and I had the Just Got Praise band, we could have done it, but Dana would not have gone for it. And that is rehearsing with a click track, with a metronome.
Yeah.
What do you guys think? I mean, there's 2 schools of thought on this. The bad side of it is like what we used to do. I listened to old recordings of Sensation, one of the bands I was in, and the slow songs. Oh my word! I can't believe how fast we were playing them.
They're the slow songs.
And they're the slow songs. It was people were out there dancing. The dance floor was packed, and we were playing these songs, and we tended to play them fast. Honestly,
I think that's characteristic of live music.
I think so for live music, so that's kind of the negative side. The positive side of not playing with a click track is you don't have to worry about the click track. You don't have that stress of saying, "Oh, are we off a little bit?" I mean, who's going to control it? Who's got the,
Yeah, it's definitely a skill to learn. I mean, it's not easy. I mean, we do studio work all the time, and even if it's just you and me in here, recording a backing track, like one person trying to stay with the click is sometimes difficult, let alone a 5-piece band.
Yeah. But there's some positives to it as well, and it keeps you in time, it keeps you in tempo, keeps everybody together. Yeah. Even in a live setting, I know there's a lot of live bands that play with a click track.
Especially if they're playing with backing tracks or stems, that they're triggering because they have to be in time with those. Any pre-recorded section of music that you're playing along with your live band, it's got to go to a click.
Yeah, right. So, I don't know. We're not going to say, I'm not going to say, I don't think that you should or shouldn't.
I feel like as an individual, like when we're saying like practice and rehearsals, 2 different things. But even if you don't use a click in rehearsal with the group, use it at home when you're practicing on
by
your
yourself.
Own.
Yes.
Yeah, you'll become much more consistent.
Very good idea. Yeah.
It's just Yeah, I heard that for years, and I never realized how important it was until I tried to do it, and I was like, oh wow. You just don't realize how you think I got pretty good rhythm. And then you play with the click, and it's like you're all over the place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now Dana had very good rhythm. He was in fact, somebody else, one of our other musicians we played with for a while, once told him, Dana, you are a metronome.
Yeah.
And he was, except of course when we got live and the adrenaline got flowing, things did speed up a bit. But he was very good. So it was never even an option with him. But anyway, what do you guys think? Do you play when you rehearse on your own or with the band? Do you guys play with a metronome? Do you a quick track? Do you or what's your thoughts on that? We'd love to hear what you guys do, with that or without it. So let us know about that. info@notespiremusic.com.
Yeah.
We are just about to wrap this up.
I
have the answer.
was gonna say, I think we had
We
Do we have 3 trivia questions? Or
I have the answers.
All right.
No, well, I think I gave all 4 except for the one.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. We did.
Who's the most sung Christian artist? All right. We'll give you that. Yeah.
Most sung.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to say Chris Tomlin, but
You want to? Go ahead.
is it Chris Tomlin?
Chris Tomlin.
Really, it is.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. Most sung Christian artist, according to this website that I was on.
Yeah.
I didn't write it down. I'm sorry.
I mean,
Yeah,
I
Chris
guess that
Tomlin.
makes sense. I mean, because, we've been doing a lot of, as long as I've been involved in contemporary Christian music, in a Sunday morning service, we've been doing Chris Tomlin songs, and they're still doing them. So
Yeah.
with all the other artists that are out
Oh,
there, though,
my
like you're
goodness,
thinking about
there's
like
so
Matt
many.
Redman and Paul Balash and all those
so
guys,
many.
like,
Yeah.
but yeah, Chris Tomlin takes the
Yeah.
cake.
Well, here's another question
It's
for
because
you.
of Good Father. I
Yeah,
know
I
it.
know. It's got to be, yeah. We'll answer this question next time, unless you want to email us the answer. And I don't know if we're going to have anything for you or not, but according to Guitar Player magazine, who is the most recorded guitarist in history?
Wow.
Can you imagine? Being the most recorded guitarist in all of history, according to Guitar Player magazine, and it is not Glenn Campbell.
Huh.
Okay. All right. We'll leave you with that.
Interesting.
If you Google the answer and you want to send it to us, info@notespiremusic.com. Otherwise, we will give you the answer. I've got a star next to it. We'll give you the answer plus a bunch more trivia next time. We'll dive more into Spotify playlists and get you guys some more information on that. And what else would you guys like to know about? Yeah.
Let us know.
In fact, or if you can find great Kickstart, we'd like to hear from. Or if we find it, we'll let you know, because maybe some of you like it too. Anyway.
Yeah, I think that's all we have. So make sure you guys connect with us online. We are on Facebook and Instagram as Notespire Music. We're right here on YouTube if you're watching this video at Notespire Music TV. If you're just listening to the audio of this podcast, we are everywhere that good podcasts are.
Heard.
Platforms.
Streamed.
Downloaded, everything. Apple
Everything.
Podcasts, iTunes, all of them. We're out there.
Yep.
And you can always find out everything you want to learn about us at our website, which is notespiremusic.com. You want to mention anything about Notespire Radio?
Oh, Notespire Radio. Please do tune in. WNSM DB Notespire Radio. And that's broadcasting 24/7. We're always looking for new music for the station. So info@notespiremusic.com. Send us your music if you haven't already. We'd love to consider it for the radio station. And also, the Just Got Music Hour, which is a weekly podcast that I get to host. Comes out a new one every Friday morning, putting Christian artists on the air and God in the spotlight. We'll consider your music for that as well. And then the Artist Insight.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you're an artist out there and you're interested in being interviewed by us, we talk about your songs, play some of them, whatever, things you want to share about your music ministry, the stories behind the song. And we get you a lot of traction out there, not only with our followers, but also other stations and other outlets out there, and on all of our social media platforms. You can check out those packages on our website, and also email us directly to find out more information about that. info@notespiremusic.com.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, I want to mention,
Yeah.
I don't know if I told you this. Note the Jesscott Music Hour is heard right where you're hearing this. Mm-hmm. And also it's on it's on other Christian internet radio stations. Mm. And we just picked up 2 more.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, just 2 more stations. We want to thank them on the air here.
Yeah.
That's Christian Media Spotlight Radio Network.
That's a mouthful.
Yes, it is. That's our friend Joe Neal in Washington State. He just picked up this show. And then our new friend Danny, who is SBB Southern something
broadcast.
Some broadcast, sbbradio.com. Yes, please look that up. Cool. And tell him Paul's sorry that he forgot the whole. Yeah, but it's SBB Radio. Yeah, the acronyms. Oh, I hate them. Anyway, so we thank him for that. We thank God for expanded territory. So until we see you guys again, please take care of yourselves
and take care of each other.
Yeah, we'll see you next time.
The Artist Impact Podcast is a production of Notespire Music, LLC. At Notespire Music, we empower independent Christian musicians to grow their God-given music potential by refining their craft and extending their music ministry reach through mentorship, training, trusted resources, music production, and artist promotion. Notespire Music, helping you gain confidence, grow your talent, and advance your impact. For more information, visit notespiremusic.com. That's NOTESPIREMUSIC.com.